Hey sis, how are you? So glad that you all are joining me this evening for Mindful Money Moment. This is Kivette Minor Kane, your financial liberation expert with More Life LLC. And this evening, we're looking to share some very valuable information with you from a very special lady that I met on Clubhouse. And she is going to share with us some information about how to grow from your money story. You know, we've talked about money memory and how important it is for us to remember those initial influences that we receive in childhood, even, you know, how those around us spoke about money, how they managed money, what was the energy that we picked up and the feeling that we got where money is concerned. You know, do we feel like there's not enough? Do we have an abundance and, you know, it's overflowing? Or do we struggle with managing, you know, what we have, whether it's at a lower level income or even at a higher level income? Because we can be broke at any level if we're not managing our money right. And you all know that. But I thank you for joining us. This lady, Alissa Lock, is with the Money Management Group, and she is absolutely fabulous. Let me just tell you a little about Alissa. She has been on Clubhouse, you know, sharing some very valuable information in the rooms there. So if you have an opportunity, be sure to follow her. Both on Instagram at Your Money Mama and on Clubhouse. And so Alissa spent her career helping people improve their financial situation, first in the mortgage industry and then in the insurance and financial services industry. So in her most recent corporate career, she was a business coach to independent insurance agents, helping them grow their businesses and their personal income. So after taking early retirement, she felt called to help people understand their relationship with money, improve their money habits, and develop a workable spending plan and gain confidence around their finances. And you all know we are all about gaining confidence, improving our habits, and making sure we have a good, strong, positive, loving relationship with our money. And so Money Mentor Group provides individual financial coaching, group coaching, courses, workshops, all designed to help people who are struggling with their mindset and behaviors with their money. There are also plenty of free downloads and blogs on their website at moneymentorgroup.com. And so Alissa is going to introduce herself by sharing some of her history. Hey, Alissa, thank you so much for joining.
Well, it's so nice to see you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so wonderful to have you here. It's so wonderful to be on this mindful money moment as we take an opportunity to just kind of reflect on our money story. And you've spoken quite a bit about the money story, and you know what that looks like, and how do you get in touch with what your money story is, and how does that affect you even now today? So can you give us some insight on what do you encourage in terms of identifying your money story?
Well, I feel like this concept of the money story is really the key to, or one of the major keys to reaching your financial goals. Because if you don't understand the messages that you heard growing up around money, whether those were messages from your family or messages from your environment growing up, your messages from your religion, your messages from your culture, wherever you got those messages from, if you don't understand what those messages are and realize kind of how that impact your relationship with money today, then you're going to really struggle to change any money behaviors that you want to change. So I really feel like this concept of the money story is pivotal to your journey with money, whatever that is and wherever you're at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It starts from the very beginning, and it kind of shapes our habits and our decisions, even through our lifetime up until today. And really, it's identifying that money story that helps us to be in touch with how do we make better decisions. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally agree. I always say you have to understand why you do what you do before you can make any kind of change. So I'll share with you kind of a recent personal kind of aha moment that I had with it. So, during the pandemic, which, we were all affected by that one way or the other,
Yeah.
I was home a lot like everybody else. And my husband typically goes to sleep much earlier than I did. And so in the evenings, I found myself just, kind of sitting in front of the TV or reading a book or, whatever I was doing. And I found myself eating a lot. The pantry was just calling me. The cookies, the crackers, I was just snacking all the time. And I was thinking to myself, what is going on here that I'm doing that? Like, I'm usually pretty good with my, eating, trying to eat healthy. And I'm like, what is going on that these evening hours, it's, such a hard time for me from a eating standpoint. And so I said, okay, Alissa, you're a coach yourself, right? So what's going on? And I said, all right, what emotion are you feeling during this time? And I realized I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling bored. I'm feeling isolated. And so, once I understood the emotions that I was feeling, the why behind the what, I was then able to fix the behavior. And it's just like that with your money story. Your money story helps fill in your why you do what you do with your money. And so that's really, like I said, just so important, so fundamental towards making whatever change you want with your money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a major connection to make. As you know, I'm an emotional intelligence practitioner. And so here, the ladies, we always talk about, how our monies affect our money, or how our emotions rather affect our money management. And so we're able to create better habits and make better decisions so that we can create the quality of life that we want. It's about understanding how can we work with this money to make it do what we want, because it's not just about the money, it's about what the money can do for us. And that is absolutely essential. Yeah. So what is your money story? Which, if you don't mind sharing some insight with us on that.
Sure. No, I'd be happy to. So I grew up in Connecticut, actually, in a very affluent environment, but we were not affluent.
Okay.
We were definitely, we were probably, thinking back now, lower middle class. I always had food on the table. I always had a roof over my head. We always had, I never worried about some of those basic things, but, there wasn't a whole lot of extra. And so I remember my very first memories being one of scarcity. I can remember going to the supermarket as a young child with my mother, and all the other kids had Oreo cookies in their lunch. Like, that was a big thing. And my mother wouldn't buy them for us. She would buy the store brand name, kind of chocolate with cream in the middle sandwich cookies. But we never got the Oreo brand cookies. And I remember her always sending me messages of, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. I would ask for the latest toy or the latest clothing item or whatever it was. And the message I heard was, can't afford it, can't afford it, can't afford it. Fast forward, I got married pretty young and in my 20s, and my husband and I were a dual, income family, and he grew up in a similar kind of, environment. He actually was from the same town I was. I knew him since second grade.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, kind of weird. And so what happened was that created, as a reaction to that, we became big spenders. And, because in our minds, we're like, oh, we've got two incomes, we deserve it. So we bought a house because, young couple, that's what you do. We really couldn't afford it, but we bought a house, and we bought two very nice cars. Finance, of course, because we didn't have the money. And, we took vacations. We were living this lifestyle that we felt we deserved because it filled an emotional need for both of us, to now feel like we've got some of these luxuries. So fast forward a couple of years, and unfortunately, I ended up getting divorced, and I found myself a single mother living on my own, living paycheck to paycheck. And again, I could afford my rent, and but not too much extra.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I had left that marriage with about $60,000 in debt and very, very little in savings. And, I was just as much a fault in creating that scenario as my first husband.
Yeah.
When I would lay in bed at night, worried and scared, thinking, how am I ever going to provide for my daughter the way I want to? How am I ever going to be able to retire someday? How am I ever going to get this debt paid off? And I was literally paralyzed with fear that my financial future was one where I would just continue living paycheck to paycheck. And I just thought, there's got to be a better way. And I want my financial future to look different.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started going to the library and reading books. And I just started talking to people. And little by little, I just chipped away at that debt. I picked one and I made extra payments and I chipped away. And when I got that first debt paid off, I was like, hallelujah. And I traded in that car and got rid of that payment. And for several years, I actually drove this beat up old Hyundai Sonata. And Hyundai Sonatas, 20 years ago weren't what they are now, right?
Yeah, right. Very different.
It was literally this beat up old car that my parents were giving away because it had like 100 and something thousand miles on it. And I'm like, no, I'll take it. I'll drive it. And so I just started changing some of my mindset and my habits. And really it was a change in mindset that happened first, that allowed me to then eventually change my habits. Fast forward, I got remarried and I married a guy who had the same kind of financial vision that I have. And together we did what everybody knows you're supposed to do. We lived below our means. We saved aggressively. We lived very frugally. We really tried to maximize our income. And I was able to retire in my early 50s because of what we had done, leave corporate America. But I have too much energy just to kind of not, I don't know. I just felt called to do something, right? And so I kind of realized that my superpower, they say everybody has a superpower, right? My superpower was this whole concept around money mindset and money behavior. And that, maybe this was my calling. And so I became a financial coach.
Absolutely. That's fabulous. How you're able to turn around. Now, one thing I really connect with is, it's when you're retired, it's not necessarily that you don't want to do anything with your life. It's right. That retirement is really, and what I try to encourage is it's a time when we are able to choose what we want to do because we don't have to work in exchange for our money.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So getting ourselves to that point is absolutely essential. And seeing that you have accomplished that, you are a fabulous example for us to be able to follow, and being able to retire early at 50 as well. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, there are so many.
It wasn't easy. Yeah. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of sacrifice. To be honest, there were a lot of times where I got discouraged. My kitchen cabinets were falling apart and I was like, just redo the kitchen already. And I'm like, no, think long-term, think about, your end goal here, and I would say to myself things like, okay, can you live with this for one more year? Like I would make a bargain with myself. Or if it was an old car and I'm like, can you drive that for one more year? And that was one of the things that I did, was just try to have that long-term vision.
That's awesome. And so that helps us to see also that it takes self-control. When we put ourselves first, it's not just caring for ourselves, but it takes discipline, it takes self-control, it takes self-confidence. But when you have the result that you were able to get, then it does build up your confidence so that now you're able to say, you know what, all that sacrifice was worth it, because in the end, I win.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole goal.
Exactly, exactly. And I think so I have four children. My husband and I together have four children.
Mhm.
And when I think about what will my legacy be, hopefully my legacy is that their money story will look different than my money story. I'm sure if you asked any of my children, three of whom are adults now, working on their own, one is still going through college, but they would probably say that, their recollection of money was also something around, we can't afford it, we can't afford it. But I
Yeah.
think what they saw was that mom and dad were saying, it's not that we can't afford it, it's that we're choosing saving over spending.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they've learned that important lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so key for us. It's making sure that we are not overindulging in the present so that then we're neglecting the future. Because I know for me personally, one of the scariest things that I can think about, and it's a huge motivator for me, is, if I get to a certain age, because I'm working to keep myself healthy and, fit, and to make sure that longevity is the key. I want to live a long, happy life. But getting to, those older years, not being able to work in exchange for my time in exchange for money, and then running out.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of that even happening today, as there are older people who have had to get back into the job market because they ran out of their retirement money, or their retirement money was getting so low that they wanted to make sure that they had enough. So they had to get back to working before they ran out, and that is a very challenging position to be in. When you have to make those sacrifices and now go back to work. It's different if you have chosen to go back to work because now you want to fulfill your purpose, or you have a passion that you want to lead into, and that is, when you're able to live, or create the reality of your dreams, as I say, so that you're able to really experience that quality of life, that you want. So how do you encourage your clients who you work with the steps that they can take to get started on that journey to understanding their money story and being able to reshape it or shift the narrative so that they're able to create this amazing retirement similar to what you've done for yourself?
So I would say there's really three things. One is that concept of understanding why you do what you do. So part of that is thinking about your money story and how that has, impacted your behavior. I think also in thinking about, why you do what you do, you need to also think about what we call your money personality. So we actually at Money Mentor Group, we have an assessment that we are licensed to give. It's on our website, and people can go there and take it. But it identifies 5 different money personalities. So there's the money monk, who feels like money is the root of all evil, right? If they get money, they just like, I want to give it away because money is evil. There's the amasser, who feels happiest when they have large amounts of cash, or just investments like all around them, and they can look at it all the time. That's what, brings them joy. Yeah. There's the hoarder, who doesn't want to spend money. They're just saving. There's the spender. That's, pretty self-explanatory. And then there is the avoider. And the avoider just, I don't want to deal with my money. I want to deal with my bills. I don't want to deal with my money. Just make it all go away. So understanding your money personality is another kind of part of understanding why you do what you do. Once you understand, that, then number 2, I would say, is having clarity around your financial goals and your values, and really even just taking a piece of paper and writing down those goals. And it could be, my goal is to hit X amount of dollars in my investment portfolio, because once I hit that number, I'm going to be okay in retirement. But you have to really gain clarity around your goals, and what you value, so that you've got a roadmap to your future. Mm-hmm. And then I would say 3 is really understanding what's coming in and what's going out on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. And that's creating what some people call a budget, right? I do not like the word budget, because when you say budget, most people immediately, their mind goes to a feeling of being restricted, and a budget's going to mean they can't have any fun or treat themselves to anything nice. Mm-hmm. So I like to call it a spending and savings plan. Mm-hmm. And that is simply knowing where every dollar goes and giving every dollar a job, right? So that you can be more intentional with your money. In my spending and savings plan, I have a certain amount of money that I get to spend each month, that I call me money. And I like to spend my me money on, shoes and clothes, and, because frankly, I like those things and they make me happy, right? I'll just say it, my husband, he also has me money in our spending and savings plan. And again, that's the amount of money he can spend, no questions asked. And he likes to spend it on gardening. And he likes to go to like gourmet stores and buy, hot sauce for $20. I'm like, but again, it's his me money. I can't say a word. And by having that in our spending and savings plan, we never really feel deprived.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that, that you've got those 3 first steps for our ladies to take, and understanding your money story. So writing down the things that you remember about your initial exposure to money in the past. And they know they've got that with the money memory sheet that I offer them. And then also you've got the money personality test, and they can visit your money mentor.
So www.moneymentorgroup.com. And they can take the assessment. It's under $10. And so, it's quick and easy. And then they have that understanding. And we actually even send them an explanation of not just what money personality that it revealed, the assessment revealed, but we send them a kind of a guide to help them better understand, if they are that kind of personality, what does it actually mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's awesome. That reminds me of the 5 love languages.
Yes. Yeah.
5 personality or money personalities, but it's kind of your, love and money, making that connection.
Yeah.
It's an awesome way for folks to really have fun with learning more about their money, to really identify their personality, and then say, oh yeah, well, I'm mainly this personality, but I got a little bit of this one too.
Yeah. And I would say, for anybody who takes it, like, don't get caught up on the labels, because none of the labels are actually too complimentary. Like, for example, when I took the money personality, I thought I was going to be one thing, but after I took the assessment, turns out I'm a money hoarder. Yeah, and when I first got the results, I was like, oh, I don't want to be a hoarder, because I was thinking about that TV show with people, like all this stuff. And I thought, oh, that's terrible. But now that I really think about it, I think I am a hoarder. So it's, again, don't get caught up on the labels, because none of them are particularly complimentary.
Basically, that means that you like to save money as opposed to spending it. And that's a good thing. Because money you're only going to do 2 things with money. You're going to save it or you're going to spend it. And even after you save it, that just means you spend it later.
Exactly. I mean, the good thing, like, for example, and each one of them has good things and bad things. So, for example, my assessment came back, I'm a hoarder. So the good thing about a hoarder is we tend to be really good savers, which I am, right? I'm always like, sock it away. The downside of being a hoarder, though, is that when I do spend money, I feel guilty. Like, oh, I should be. So, and each one has a like kind of a positive thing and a negative thing to it. Even the spender, right? So you might think, well, what could possibly be good about being a spender, right? Because we always think of a spender in a negative. But the good thing about being a spender is, one, they usually look really good. But the other thing about being a spender is they're also very generous. They like to spend money on other people. So it's not just spending money on themselves. They'll spend on other people and take care of other people in that way. So with each one, there's good and bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would phrase that in saying that there's the strengths and the weaknesses. So we can recognize even what those weaknesses might be and reframe that, so that we understand how can we turn that weakness into a strength. What is the benefit? Just like you said, those spenders are generous people. And that's a beautiful thing because, nobody wants, to work with someone who's stingy. And it's like, and you really don't want to be a stingy person. That's, that's what money is for. It's for, and love is for sharing with other people, and that's what makes us happy. That's what gives us joy. And so, being able to find those differences, that's very interesting. I haven't taken my money personality test. I'm going to have to go and do that. I'm going to be visiting themoneymentorgroup.com so that I can find out. And I'm going to let you ladies know what my results are.
All right, good. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, and that's all in part of doing the work. We have to be able to evaluate ourselves honestly, to know what our strengths are that we can truly benefit and how we're going to be able to work not only for ourselves, but for others. And then to recognize the weaknesses so that we can improve them and turn them into strengths, because just because it's a weakness doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that there's some room for growth, right. and so that spending, just because they like to spend money, again, doesn't mean that it's bad, because they, obviously from the test, and I hope I'm a spender, they, they're generous with, how they give gifts to other people. And so they maybe spenders are the ones who are doing the majority of the charitable contributions, or the philanthropists. And so we think about how we can reframe, the thinking around that so that we understand what are truly the benefits, because as you said, there's the positive and the negative, but even the negative things we can, give it a spin so we're able to understand how it can be a strength to us or a benefit in some way, shape, or form, and keep us balanced, you know? And so one thing I would like to know, because I know that there's the dominant characteristics, but if there are, like secondary characteristics that show tests and things like that, where you can identify this is your primary, money attitude or personality, but this is where you fall into kind of a secondary category on a lower percentage.
Yeah, and most people have some kind of kind of primary, and then there are a little bit of some other things. That's very very, very normal. So yeah.
Absolutely balanced. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Alissa. And what you have with Money Mentor Group, it's just absolutely fabulous. Now, you all host your clubs on Clubhouse as well. How can people connect with you there so that they can hear your talks and your message as well?
So there's a number of different ways. So we are very active in Clubhouse. We just love it because we get to meet fabulous people like yourself. And the conversations are really pretty amazing. So we have our own club in Clubhouse. The club is called The Money Mentor Group. So even though the name of our company is just Money Mentor Group, in Clubhouse, we are The Money Mentor Group. And we hold, different conversations throughout the week, everything around money and marriage and how to stop fighting about money, to money in midlife and what are some things that, you want to be thinking about there, to even things like we have one that we do that's very popular where we talk about self-worth and net worth. And if your self-worth is being impacted by your net worth, and what's that relationship between those two. I think you've been on those conversations. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So we have a number of different, rooms that we do, everything having to do with money mindset, money behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's fabulous because we talk quite a bit about that here. I may have to have you come back for our Net Worth Network.
Sure.
We have that on Wednesdays, the fourth Wednesday of every month. And we talk about just, how to build our network and, really being able to have those conversations, because identifying our money story really gives us a point for being able to share what that story is with others, and to connect with them about what their money story is. And then we can have more conversations. As we have more conversations about, this whole money thing and our mindset and our relationship with money, then we're able to improve in our relationship with money. We're able to not feel so, taboo about it. Oh, we don't talk about that at the table. Yeah, we need to talk about that at the table. We need to talk about that in the car. We need to talk about that as we walk along the roads. Money needs to be something that we are absolutely comfortable with having the conversation about, so that we can build up our confidence.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, like, in our parents' generation, they never talked about money. I mean, it was taboo. And I really think that, it has changed, especially, there's so many resources for people today on social media because of the internet. People can really educate themselves, not only from a financial literacy standpoint, like how things work, but also, things like Clubhouse and podcasts like yours. It really helps people understand more about money. And I think that conversation is just so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that we encourage here as well is to find a financial advisor or financial coach who can help to guide you through the process. I truly believe in myself. I'm a hand holding coach. I, believe in holding a person's hand from the very beginning till they get to a point where they feel confident enough to walk on their own, and then and still being there to support, kind of like, as we raise our children, they're, learning to walk, and we hold their hand until they're able to get stable, and then they move on forward. And sometimes we have to run after them.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. And, as a financial coach, we're, like you said, we're their accountability partner, which is not fun, because nobody likes to hold somebody else accountable, and nobody likes to be held accountable, but that's part of it. Right. And, holding hands and, educating and being a cheerleader and all of those roles. And I think that's the value of having a coach, which is a little different than a financial advisor. So I think, the two roles are just.
So how would you explain the difference so that our audience understands the difference between those two?
So I would say, a financial advisor is somebody who, by definition, gives financial advice, right? Investment advice, and sells investment products. So a financial advisor is going to help you build a strategy for your money to grow and for you to reach your long-term goals. Yeah. What they don't really do is work with the mindset piece of managing your money, or even so much the kind of building a spending and savings plan. A lot of them are qualified to do so, but the relationship is just different. And so I, as a financial coach, I have a lot of financial advisor partners, and we refer business to each other. We refer clients to each other, so to speak. I like to say that my goal is to get my clients to the point where they have paid off their debt, not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. They are in a healthy place from a mindset standpoint, and they are ready to start investing for their future. And that's when I then will refer them to one of the financial advisors that I work with. So that's kind of how that relationship works together.
Yeah. So the financial advisor is the one who is more geared towards identifying the products and the strategy. Right. Whereas the financial coach is more geared towards identifying the mindset and helping you to put together a plan for how to, address those emotional issues so that you're able to now make better decisions about your financial products. So we need both.
Exactly. Totally.
We absolutely need, just like, I make this comparison all the time about how financial advisors should be seen as your money doctor. If you see your doctor every year for an annual review, and sometimes twice a year, make sure that you schedule that same annual review with your financial doctor, your financial advisor, your financial coach, using the person that you're using to get you through, that process. So no worries.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. But that's the whole goal right there, is to find that balance and to make sure that we understand, how that we're going to be able to make the progress that we need to. And that's where that mindful money moment comes into play, where we're taking the time to really observe ourselves, to identify, what are the challenges, where do we need to work, and what can we do. So here we talk about what to do, but then we also talk about how. So I just want to reflect on it for a moment. In order to get ourselves to a place where we're able to rewrite our narrative or to identify our whole, relationship with money, there's three things you identified for us. And that was, first, identifying your money story, and then identifying your money personality, and then establishing your goals.
Yes. Yep.
And so taking those first three steps are what's going to help you ladies to get started on the next stage of your process as you journey to self-sufficiency, as you are, transforming your mind and transforming your money and thriving after that process and through that process even. And so I thank you so much, Alissa, for coming today and for sharing this information with us. It's so encouraging. And I'm looking forward to seeing. So ladies, when you go to Money Mentor Group and you complete that money personality test, post your results in the comments.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Love to see, what they're able to see, about their money personality and how they're able to really benefit from that. So I thank you again, Alissa, for being with me today.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much for sharing this amazing information about money mentorship and how, the importance of coaching, because a lot of times we will miss, what is that coaching element that we really need, and getting the guidance, in going through this process, so that when we're doing I'm not going to say that B word, when we're doing our spending and savings plan,
you got it.
We're not stressed. We're taking the stress out of that, and it's going to be like a piece of cake.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kavette.
Absolutely. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll have to have you back again for our network. But we'll see you on another occasion. You ladies, feel free to contact and connect with Alissa on Instagram at Your Money Mama. On Clubhouse, she's also Your Money Mama there. They've got the Money Mentor Group Club where they, host different conversations throughout the week. And so you'll be able to really, sink your teeth and get some nourishment on this whole money lifestyle, this mindful money moment that we're taking, and be able to benefit yourself as well as those around you. So remember, take that money personality test at moneymentorgroup.com and then post your results in the comments. I'll look forward to seeing. I'm going to do the same thing. So you come back and see my results and post yours, and I'm going to see your results. I look forward to it. You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for being with me, and have another great day. Take care, and I'll see you soon.